This involves a man who went to, he went to Jamaica. And in the case of this black man, it was deadly that he didn't have this purported proper documentation. This man here, he was turned away from returning to Britain to get a blood transfusion. And as a result, he died. Here's a photo of the man here. His name is Chaz Carl Powell. On March 9th, Mr. Powell was denied access to his British Airways flight at the Montego Bay airport. He had been spending time with his girlfriend on the island in Jamaica, and the 41-year-old needed to return to England to undergo his regular blood transfusion to treat his sickle cell anemia. But airline officials, well, they said his passport, which you can see the picture of it here, that it was in too poor of shape to validate for international travel. So it was okay to get him there, but not to get him back. Well, Powell sought emergency travel documents at the British consulate, taking a new passport photo, and this is the new picture here. You can see Powell's eyes are yellow. This is one of the visible symptoms of a disease, is severe jaundice, the sickle cell anemia, and the yellowing of skin or the whites of the eyes. That tells you this man was not in a good place and he needed to get his blood transfusion. Well, Powell also took precautions if there were health problems that arose when he was abroad. According to his mother, she states that he secured emergency funding for a transfusion if it was ever needed, adding that he even scheduled a plan for his return procedure. He had an arrangement for his nurse at King's Hospital. As soon as he landed, he would ring her for an appointment and come in to get his transfusion. And so while he was waiting for his identification to come through, well, the man complained to his girlfriend, Monique Allen, who's 30, about stomach aches and struggling to eat. She took him to the Spanish Town Hospital there in Jamaica, and 3 days after being rejected from his flight, he died. Reports say that the doctors worked on him to no avail, couldn't resuscitate him, and the police categorized his demise as quote unquote sudden death. Now, Powell's mother claims that the man died of apparent organ failure after his health spiraled out of control. And why did it spiral out of control? Well, because British Airways would not allow him back on his flight because it claimed he didn't have proper documentation. Now, British Airways issued this statement about the incident. We're saddened to hear that one of our customers has passed away, and our thoughts are with his friends and family at this difficult time. That's what a release from British Airways read. It says airlines are required by law to ensure that all documents presented for travel are valid. That is so interesting because again, document was perfectly fine when he came to Jamaica. Just the thought that he'd want to go back to his country became problematic, and even if it meant that he was going to die, and he did die. It just really seems that this whole proper documentation thing, show me your papers, is something that we black people face very often, and this thought that our papers aren't good enough, they're not sufficient, and thus we are being held back. That's something we're seeing over in Poland right now, and we're seeing in a number of southern states when they're passing these voter ID laws. This has been an ongoing trend and something that has been used against us forever. Do we have proper papers? Rayyvana.
I mean, this is just one of those stories that breaks your heart because this is a man who was prepared for the worst case scenario. This is someone who took his health very seriously. He had these contingency plans in place. He had saved up the money just in case he needed an emergency transfusion. He did everything right. And despite having done everything right, he died and he was taken too soon. It's extremely unfortunate. And there's just something sinister about the airline calling him a customer. We're so sad that one of our customers has died because at the end of the day, that's all that he was to them. He was someone who was giving them money and nothing more, but to his mom, to his girlfriend, to the people in his life. He was a lot more than that, and his life had meaning. But apparently this airline gets to decide who lives and dies in this case, and it's really sad. It's really gross. Again, it's just one of those stories that breaks your heart.
Absolutely, and also I've known of various situations where people lose their passport, they lose items while they're abroad, while they're traveling, and I've seen exceptions be made. I've seen people at the airport essentially put you through rigorous questions to ensure that you are from that country and allowing you to return. And here, it definitely seemed like they just turned him around and said, no, we're not letting you on our flight, too bad. And I am confident that this man pleaded to them because he needed this blood transfusion. And the thought that just 3 days later, he died. He knew that death was knocking at his door, and I'm confident he pleaded and he did everything he could by going to the British consulate, but he was not allowed back, and as a result, he died. This just speaks to the inhumane nature that we Black, brown people often face when we are just trying to live, just trying to exist. And to know that these kind of documentation things are going on right now as individuals flee Ukraine and the conflict right now that's created by Russia. And then to know that there are people just trying to live in this world who, again, are held to different standards on this documentation thing. It just, it eats me up a lot. Rayyvana, any last comments?
Yeah, I just want to say that his passport wasn't that messed up. I mean, I'm sorry, like his picture was still clear. You could still tell that that was him, versus the picture that you showed us from the picture he took at the consulate. It wasn't, I have friends who have flown with their passports in much worse condition than that. Difference is those friends were white. So I think you're exactly spot on with that.
Yeah, and also, the fact is that the British Airways would have record of that man having come through. Also, their kind of TSA department back there, he would have had a stamp showing his entry. They could have at least checked the footage to show, hey, this was the man who entered around this time or whatnot. Because again, death was knocking at his door. He needed that transfusion, and they denied him the opportunity to live under this purported claim that his documentation wasn't sufficient.